Hi everybody, I'm Heinz, aka Diamond from underground.com. I'm really excited to stay with Andreas from Sepultura.
How are you, man?
All good.
Good to see you.
Como vai ser?
Tudo bem.
And that's all I'm knowing.
Very good.
Right. Alright, first things first, obviously you're on tour promoting Machine Messiah. It's been out for about a year now. How would you say the reception's been so far?
Fantastic, man. It's one of the best in years, you know. Actually, since Chaos AD, when we came out with the album, we never played so many new songs on a tour. You know, we played like 5, 6, even 7 songs sometimes from the album. And it's great that it seems that the fans are really grasping the idea of the album concept. You know, they're listening to the whole thing, you know, from start to end, which is a metal tradition, let's say. You know, we really build the album around the idea of that. You know, side A, side B, like the good old days of vinyl, which is vinyl coming back as well. You know? The generation of my son, let's say, is like 20 years old now, and he listens mostly vinyl. You know. And, of course, he has the smartphones and stuff, but it's great to have that option, and it's great to see that this new generation, alongside the old fans, and are grasping this album idea, and it's been amazing. We did the Creator Tour in February last year. We went to the States and Canada with Testament. We did many festivals, including Rock in Rio in Brazil, which was fantastic. And now our first headline tour here in Europe couldn't be better. It's
It's a huge package you put together.
Yes.
Like Goat and Obscura and all these bands that are either starting to make a name for themselves or have been in the underground circuit long enough that people know them.
Yeah, definitely. It's working great, and each one of the bands have like a real unique style, and a very interesting package for the people,
Yeah, absolutely. And this will be the 4th time I've seen you on the Machine Messiah tour.
All right.
I saw you at Grass Pub last year, and I saw you both sets at 70,000 tons.
Nice.
I didn't come up and say hello, but I didn't have much to say, so I was like, "Are you doing press in England?" You're like, "I think so. Thanks."
I think I remember that. But it's cool, yeah. I mean, 70,000 tons was great, and Grass Pop as well. But I mean, the show now, it's a more complete show, because we didn't perform the instrumental song or the Machine Messiah, which opens the album, on those shows, on those tours. But now we are doing everything, basically, we are prepared to do any song from the album, and it feels much better, we feel much more comfortable, we are more used to it, to the new songs, to the samples and everything, and we're feeling we are really growing as a band, I think it's an album that really is developing a very interesting performance, of the stuff that we did on the studio, which is the way it's supposed to be, to take to a different level, so we can prepare the next one. But that's really
I think in some ways it follows on very naturally from the mediator between the head and the hands. There's some similar themes there. It's that human experience over the machine.
Of course, there's a few differences, of course. Both albums are very different, but mainly I think we was working with Ross Robinson and Jens Bogren. Ross produced The Mediator, which is a very different producer from Jens. Ross is very spiritual, a lot of talking. It's like almost going to a
therapist.
A therapist, yeah. Because we really talked about the lyrics, about all the meanings of things, and he likes the free expression, he loves mistakes, that kind of a pressure, to be at the high level, to try to break our own limits, Jens, he has the same type of approach, but it's very much more technical, let's say, like, it's just different, it's a different generation as well. It's from Sweden, that's what we are looking for, to go to a different place, to a different atmosphere, and work with different people, and Jens mixed and produced everything on the album, and we're so happy with both albums. I think it is an evolution, from Mediator to Machine Messiah. Of course, the second album with Eloy Casagrande on drums as well, which helps, to write and to feel more comfortable with each other and everything. So, we always
superb drummer.
Amazing, yeah. It's an amazing musician that he opens any possibility, for guitar writing or vocals or whatever. It's great to have such a great musician on the band that can really achieve impossible. It seems like, you know, it's great.
Oh, it's great, and like you say, there's some similar concepts between Mediator and Machine Messiah, but every album since Dante has been very focused on a concept or a theme.
Yeah.
Do you think that helps with the music side of it, the songwriting, to have, you know, like an area or a mood?
Very much, yeah. And in that respect, all the albums are like this, you know. I mean, we call it album because it was a collection of songs put in the same place, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the Beatles, for instance, you know, I think up to Sgt. Pepper's, you know, was very much the same. You know, you have a collection of songs, and you know, basically Beatles talk about love. You know, that's the main concept of the Beatles. Without that concept, wouldn't be the Beatles. You know,
Yeah.
in that respect. So it is a concept. You know, it's something that is driven the way they write music and lyrics. And after Sgt. Pepper's, you know, it really opened the possibilities. You know, to do more like a conceptual album. I think. Probably was the first one, you know, and then Pink Floyd with The Wall and stuff, you know, to connect the songs, you know, to make them feel as a part of a whole, you know, instead of just like tracks, you know.
Yeah.
And we like that, you know, the rock and roll, the heavy metal, the prog scene. It is, how can I say? We like that stuff,
Yeah.
you know, to really explore art and poetry and all that stuff, you know. So it's great that Machine Messiah, even some people are using the term prog, you know.
I would say
some
it's,
parts.
At first listen to it's almost difficult because it is so complex, and there's a lot of new stuff and new ideas in there for Sepultura.
Definitely.
So even when I first heard it, I was like, this is really fucking good, it's really intelligent. So I can't put it on as background. I have to sit and listen to it.
Yes.
Which is a sign of a really good.
I hope so.
Where if it makes you stop.
No, but it is,
else.
yeah. A few people that heard Machine Messiah first, and then they didn't continue the album. They had to listen to the song again, you know, a few times.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they were ready to go further. But yeah, I guess the reason for that song to open the album is exactly that, you know, to create expectations and create kind of like what's coming next, you know, like an overture of an opera or something. You know, we have a little bit of what we're talking about, but at the same time create this atmosphere of the unknown, you know.
Absolutely. Well, this year marks 20 years since Against.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about Derrick like he's not here. I just don't want to be rude.
No, just keep going.
I know he's here, but I ignore him.
Okay.
So talk shit about him.
Just my voice is here.
Yes.
There's enough of fucking dickheads. There's enough dickheads talking shit about Derrick for the last 20 years. He doesn't need me added to it. I don't fucking agree with him for one thing. But how would you say what's the key to Derrick being around for so long? Because a lot of bands, they lose a frontman, another one comes in, and then it's almost like a
we're still trying things with Derrick, you know. It's in the transition phase. We're not sure yet. No, it's amazing, man. I think, you know, it shows that we did the right choice, and Derrick as well, you know, to choose to be with us. And it's 20 years. It's been an amazing ride. I think Against is the most important album in our career. You know, without Against, we wouldn't be able to continue. You know, as Sepultura, you know, to go. We stayed as a trio in the beginning, and then Derrick came in to complete the team. You know, we were missing that extra guy there, extra factor with ideas and input. You know, and when Derrick came in, we completed Against, and it was a very difficult times. You know, for sure, because you know, Max left in the highest point of our career up to that point, you know, Roots. We still had a lot of stuff to do with Roots for 97, 98, etc. And all of a sudden we start basically from scratch, you know, because we lost the singer, we lost the manager, we lost the producers of the album, we lost basically everything, you know. But we stayed with Roadrunner, and we did 2 albums, Against and Nation, which was very crucial and important for the band to really reestablish, you know, itself and really start a new phase in a new career. And here we are, you know, celebrating 34 years of our career. I think we are in our best momentum ever, you know, regardless of what we, you know, selling on Roots or doing on Roots. I mean, our backstage life was a mess, you know. No wonder it happened what it happened, you know, because we didn't have any more communication and anything like that. It was chaotic, you know, it was crazy. At the same time, the stage was great, you know, we were very professional to go on stage and really enjoy ourselves, but you know, all the rest was really crazy. Not now. I mean, we have everything very much organized. We enjoy being with each other, you know. We go out, we talk about different things, and that's the way it's supposed to be, I guess, you know. We're not here suffering, you know, just trying to get a paycheck, you know. We really do what we love, and it's a privilege for us to be here, you know, with a tour like this, with the fan base that we have, with the label that we are in, the managers that we have right now, you know, everything, you know, it's fantastic, man. I mean, we work very, very hard to be here today, and I think these 20 years are the most important years for us, you know. Of course, you have the golden years, let's say, for Sepultura in the beginning, coming from Brazil, discovering the world and everything. But, you know, to rebuild everything, to start from almost from zero, you know, it feels like a really amazing achievement, you know, to be here now and to have this kind of opportunities with Sepultura. And it's great. I think the Sepultura spirit was always alive and still is, you know, which is that spirit of not a comfort zone spirit, you know, unrest, you know. We are looking for something new to work. We visited 78 countries in 34 years, and there's a lot of more places that we want to go, you know. And this is always helps to bring new elements, you know, and we like to live here, the present, now, you know. We respect so much our past, but that's where we at, it's now, you know. So it's great, it feels great, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's almost crucial for Sepultura to have had that rebuilding. I mean, I know Derrick comes from a hardcore background, and you can tell that's in because he's got that energy, that sort of punk rock, fuck you, if you like, without being rude.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then subsequently against, obviously it has elements from Sepultura's past, but it's so new. And then Nation was
because
really
that,
interesting out. Rawback was when I came to Sepultura. I was only 13 when that came out.
That's great.
And I loved Rawback, and I still listen to Rawback all the time now. And then obviously that's when the concepts as an idea come in.
Yes.
And it really took Sepultura to a whole new level that I don't think would have happened otherwise.
Definitely.
And it's what's kept Sepultura not alive, but interesting.
You know what? I think I remember talking about with Derrick actually, you know, about books and movies, for us to do like our own soundtrack. You know, I did some soundtracks in Brazil. Derrick worked with movies before as well. You know, and I know that when you have a limitation of like the character, the storyline, of the situations in the movie or a book, you know, and especially the director, you know, which is the dictator of the movie. I mean, he's the one, he's the boss, you know. So we have to deal with that kind of stuff. It's not an album that I'm doing freely, whatever, you know, we might, you know, like to express, but you have to follow certain rules. You have to write themes with like 34 seconds and I don't know how many, you know, milliseconds and stuff, and it's a big challenge, you know. And as more challenge you have like that, more creative you are, you know. I call it the MacGyver effect. Just give a few elements, you know, and be creative with those elements, because you're gonna use different you're gonna find different use for I don't know, for, you know, a pen or whatever, a table, you know, acoustic guitar or electric guitar in our case, you know. So it was cool, you know, it was a great experience. And Derrick suggested the Divine Comedy. I talked about the Clockwork Orange, you know. So we did Divine Comedy first, and then Clockwork Orange on the albums next.
Well, I was going to say, when Dante 21 was the latest album, I remember reading about that, and it said the band discussed our ideas, including Clockwork Orange, and I remember thinking, oh, that would have been so fucking good. And then fucking a-lex 3 years later And I remember getting it and running to a friend's house about 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And just sitting listening to it, and it was for us it was like.
No, that's great, man. You know, it's like when you have that kind of stuff. Also, I mean, we would never do like a version of the Ninth Symphony from Beethoven if you wouldn't for the book, you know, for the movie or whatever. Dante as well. You know, we did songs and used like classical elements as well, the violins and the horns and stuff like that. You know, because it brings that kind of atmosphere. You know, so it's great. You know. Like I said, you know, you have to have like a theme or a certain direction. Otherwise, you have nothing to say, basically. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of a risk otherwise.
Just throw ideas.
I guess, but
I mean, because we can write, I can write a riff every day, but if you don't have a meaning for that or a direction, it's nothing. You know, it doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely. Well, while we're talking about albums, you've released some solo albums of your own.
I did one. Yeah.
Hubris.
It took 5 years.
Do you not rush to do another one?
No, I have a lot of ideas. You know, I have a demo for many years, and I keep adding stuff to that demo. And whatever the day I'll have time and really energy to focus on it, I would love to do it another one. You know, with more experience now, and you know, I like to use my voice as well more often. And let's see, you know, but right now it's really impossible, you know. We are really busy on Sepultura. I have De La Tierra as well, my other group that we do metal in Spanish. We also doing some shows this year. So very focused on this. Machine Messiah really is a very strong album that it opened a lot of new work for us, you know, new possibilities and new opportunities, you know. So let's see. I don't know. I have no plans. I have no date, you know. But like I said, I'm always keeping ideas on the side, and I have a really cool demo that's a good starting point, you know, for a new album. But who knows when?
Well, one project that was advertised, not the word, but being shown off, if you like, was the idea of a documentary on the whole.
Yeah.
And I remember that was it Pledge or Indiegogo, or was one of those companies.
Oh yeah.
I think I put £20 towards it.
Thank you.
That's all right. So I was just wondering if there's any been progress with that. Or?
Yeah, I mean the campaign didn't really work. With I mean the director didn't achieve the stuff, but we went after other different ways of doing it, you know. And he found sponsors, and he found a great distributor for the movie, which is O2 Movies in Brazil, O2 Films in Brazil, and the movie came out finally last year. We released in Brazil in more than 60 theaters, which was an amazing achievement. We called the Sepultura Day. You know, it was June 14th last year, and it was great. You know, we also put the movie in different movie festivals in Mexico, in a lot of theaters as well. We did a screening in Los Angeles, which was the first ever one that we did for some friends and stuff. And now finally we're ready, you know. We are dealing also with platforms like Netflix and other stuff, you know. So hopefully we'll have that option. But we have the plan to put it out as a DVD, Blu-ray package. The Sepultura Endurance, that's the name of the movie, of the documentary. Together with the Rock in Rio concert from last year, which we have like violin, gas, and a beautiful stage and everything. So that's the plan for October, November, you know, to put together that package. Let's see if we're gonna be able to do it.
It would be really good if you did. I remember the Live in Sao Paulo DVD from 2005, 2006.
2005, yeah.
There's the short documentary that Derrick directed, and I think I watched that so many times because it was the closest thing there was to a full documentary on Sepultura. I mean, I know it covers your own experiences coming into it, but that was about half an hour long, and I watched that until I knew every word more or less. So it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to it.
No, it's great. We're also working on, as you mentioned, 20 years of Derrick, of Against. You know, we also have the idea to do something specific for Against. You know, we already start working. Actually, Dave Blake, the director who did the studio diaries for Machine Messiah, he stayed with us in Sweden on the studio and everything. he is a big fan of Against, a big fan of their era, and he's really excited to start working on it. And Paulo has a really huge amount of material, during that day. So we're gonna start organizing that, and it's another thing that we're gonna start working, but we don't have a specific date yet, and don't even know how we're gonna use. It's gonna be short or whatever. We have a lot of possibilities for that and options. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for taking the
Thank
time
you,
to
man.
talk to us, man. All the best.
Valeu.
Obrigado.